Hello and welcome to In Deep in Development's deep dive into people and talent. Here at In Development, we discover the talent, inspiration, and challenges behind the best film, television, games, and advertising. Stuff we like, maybe stuff that you like. And we do that. We started it off wonderfully for the Crisis Appeal, which you see just down here. Never get that corner right. And we did it. We smashed it this week. After a long thing, we hit the £1,000, and thank you all again. And congratulations to Sophie, who won my wonderful dynamic dice roll situation for that. But before we go on, I would definitely like to shout out to everybody who had. I love you all. You're all here. Go and have a look at yourselves. You're amazing. And everybody who's the multiple donations from people like Kathy Wang at the Dots and Andy Biddle. You all know, you know who you are. You're amazing, and the people who remained anonymous. Cool. That's nice. Respect your privacy. So today, you're not here to listen to me blab. We are actually here to chat. Just have a casual conversation with Felipe Szulc and Carla Thomas. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. I will check in a little bit. They're kindly sitting on on mute at the moment. Before we go over to them, though, I'm going to tell you where you should be looking. Of course, down below are all the links in the description. You can find out more about them and the company that they work for at nomadedit.com, and on socials, the Instagram tags of Nomad Edit Co. And on Vimeo, search for Nomad Editing Company, and on Twitter as also Nomad Edit Co. There we go. Nice and easy to remember. Pretty simple stuff. But yeah. So without further ado, I'd love to wait, hold on 1 second. Before I do that, shout out to the chat. Let's just say hey. Let's see. There's Lily and there's Nick. There's quite a few others in there, so say hi. Come on. I know that you're here mostly to see them, not me, so make sure that they know that you're here. And if you have any questions along the way, please feel free to jump in at any point. And so with that, I'd like to segue. Here they are. Welcome guys. Welcome Felipe. Welcome Carla. How are you doing?
Hello. How's it going?
Good. Of course, guys, you should know that there's one window, but there are two of them, and they're not in the same place. Felipe is there, coming to us live from the Isle of Dogs. And hello. Carla, if you say hello, so the camera can switch over.
Hello.
Carla coming to us live from a kitchen situation. You can have to say more than hello to trigger this thing. Unfortunately, Skype isn't that responsive.
Oh, right, okay. Hello from Hastings.
From Hastings there. Ta-da, from Hastings, from a lovely, what looks like a coffee bar, very swanky coffee bar, but no, that's where Carla lives. She lives up those stairs, up a little bunk bed, just above this coffee maisonette. How are you doing? How's Hastings treating you in all this?
Hastings is good. Yeah, it's nice to be. I did kind of escape London for the promise of a garden, which was nice. So I've been spending a lot of time in that there garden since the weather's been nice. Unfortunately, the beach is closed, which is a bit sad. But you know,
my heart breaks for you. Boo-hoo. Shut up. Tell me about the Isle of Dogs there, Felipe. How's that treating you?
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, I'm locked down in my home here, trying to stay safe and healthy, and it's a lovely area actually. It's close to the docklands and stuff, so it's good for walks and for running and stuff like that. I'm lucky enough to have a garden here, so spend some time in the garden, and most of the times we're in a dark room all day. But it's good to have a garden at least to see the sunshine sometimes.
What is it that's outside of work and things? What is it that you're using as a crutch? I've got my own vices. Is there something that you're focusing on that's helping you get through this situation?
Well, I think I've been doing some yoga classes actually. Because there is a friend of mine, she's very into yoga, and then we decided to do this 30-day yoga challenge. And then we are on day 30 actually today, and probably completing the challenge. And well, hopefully something that we'll keep doing after the lockdown. But I think that that's helping a lot, just to do something different and clear mind, and just like think of something else. And because all the time nowadays when you turn the news on, it's all about coronavirus and how bad the situation is. So it just really helps to clear your mind. And then other than that, I'll go for walks and just like play video games sometimes.
Nice. What you playing?
Yeah.
What you playing?
We play PES a lot. Me and housemate. Wow. So yeah, PES. And we've been playing the Guitar Hero as well, just to
like that. You guys are getting some real old school things. What about you, Carla? What are you doing down there besides just looking at beautiful beaches and hanging out in your lovely lovely home there?
I've been going on my one designated walk a day in a safe manner. I've also been kind of catching up on all the films and TV shows that have come out over the last couple of months that I kind of missed out on. So I'm all caught up with Killing Eve, which I'm really enjoying.
Nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that.
Yeah, it's really good. Season 2 is really good. We'll see about season 3. And I just like watched 1917 the other day. That was chef's kiss.
Oh really? Were you just like, you know what? I need something uplifting. I'm gonna watch the First World War drama.
Exactly. Something to really food. But yeah, I watched Knives Out the other day as well, which was another chef's kiss. Excellent. Nice. Really enjoyed that. But yeah, just been unfortunately no yoga classes for me. Not as healthy as Felipe.
Nice. Well, I'm not healthy, trust me.
What is Felipe? Just so everybody, I'm sure there are quite a few people already know you that are tuning in. But for everybody that doesn't know your history, like how did you come to be in this industry, and how did you become a colorist at NOMAD where you are today?
Well, I think it was like a bit of an unusual way, I guess, because I didn't go through all the steps like being a runner and then I just went straight to an assistant position. But I'm from Brazil. So I graduated, going all the way back, I graduated in digital design in Brazil.
Okay.
And I started my first job was like in a design agency in São Paulo, working as an assistant art director. So basically like working with web design and designing web pages, mostly for like internet banking and stuff like that. Then I was always very interested in films and photography and stuff like that. But I ended up doing digital design because I was also very into web designing and stuff like that at the time. From that, I moved to motion graphics. So yeah, from the same company, I started working like animating those banners, like for web pages and stuff like that. And then I started learning After Effects. And then I switched to motion graphics a little bit. And then learning like After Effects, I started learning comp as well. And then color grading is like a huge part of comping, I guess. So because you have to match the plates and stuff like that. So I started like getting interested in color grading. I started learning a bit more about that. Then at the time, the production company I was working for, he said, well, it would be great if you could learn a bit more and just like start grading the videos that we do here. And so, yeah, that's how I started really. I started learning from comp to color. So yeah, I started learning like Apple Color at that time. I don't think it exists anymore.
Really?
That was, I think it's like nowadays it's just part of the Final Cut suite or something, like as a plugin. Not like a separate software. So yeah, and then after that, like I just I stayed like 2.5, 3 years in that company, working as a motion designer and colorist. So a little bit of everything really. And then I left the company to become a freelancer. And then my first job, the first job they offered me was like a reality show, like a teenager for teenagers and stuff, like a fashion reality show. And so yeah, I went to do this as the colorist and also helping with the motion graphics and stuff.
Nice.
So yeah, and things started like evolving. I then for 4 years before moving, I moved to London in 2014. So then for 4 years, I lived in Brazil, like working as a freelancer and doing a little bit of everything, really, like motion graphics and color. And then things just started like switching towards color. Like sometimes people would contact me to do just the color and not the motion graphics anymore. And then I think one day this guy contacted me saying, "Oh, I have someone recommended you to grade this short film. We'll be using Davinci Resolve. Do you know how to use Davinci Resolve?" I said, "Well, I've heard about it, but I never used it." It was like on a Sunday, and I was supposed to grade the short film on a Wednesday. And then I said, "Well, so okay, so I have 2 days to learn." And then I just like downloaded one of those like online courses, and pretty much like all the theory and stuff I already knew. So it was just like switching from one software to another.
Wow.
So yeah, I created that short film, and I think like that's how things started to go towards color more than anything else.
Wow.
Yeah, and then when I moved to London in 2014, I just actually I moved to take a course in comping, not in color. But I just I started contacting. I was decided to say, well, okay, if you want to be good at something, you have to focus on that. And then so I started focusing in becoming a full-time colorist and left motion graphics and comping behind. And then just.
Sorry. No, it's just a very interesting roundabout way to come to it. What is it about the color, other than being good at it, that really attracts you to the craft of it?
I think it's just like, for me at least, it's a good balance between technical and the technical bit and the artistic bit. So like you're able to be creative, because every new project is a new challenge, and you can go whatever you would like to and propose something new. And at the same time, there are like the tech that really attract me, like in understanding how everything works. And so I think it's like, for me, that's the balance between these two things is what attracts me the most. And yeah, and then like when I moved to London, I literally just started like contacting companies, just literally like sending emails to all the companies, and it was really hard at the beginning, because it's it's a niche, so it's very hard to break into. But yeah, eventually I started like getting some jobs as a freelancer, so covering holidays from assistants and stuff like that, until I got my first full-time job as an assistant at Rush's. That I stayed there for like 2 years. And then from there I moved, and things started happening.
Nice, amazing. Carla, what about you? Currently, you're an assistant producer at NOMAD, but you've also wear a couple of different hats and things. What's your story? How did you come to be in this wonderful world that we work in?
So I guess mine is, I don't know if it's particularly roundabout. I went to uni in Bournemouth, and I studied TV production. When I was like 16, I really wanted to get into drama. And my parents kind of sat me down and were like, you have to be really sure you want to go to drama school. And I'm not sure. So kind of wanted to see what things were like on the other side of the camera. And so, yeah, I did film at school, and I wanted to learn more about TV. So that's why I went and did TV production at Bournemouth Uni. And I kind of saw that as a bit of a trial and error period in my life. I just kind of was throwing stuff at the wall and what stuck, what things I kind of enjoyed. And then, graduated from uni, started at MB as a runner. And just being there kind of I wasn't 100% sure. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, I suppose, which probably isn't the right thing to say. But it was kind of like this huge, just kind of been chucked in at the deep end, really, and kind of getting to experience a bit about all the different elements of post. And yeah, just kind of got really interested in that and would kind of sit with the offline guys, with the online guys, with the audio guys, with the colorists, and just kind of, they would sort of talk me through the process and stuff like that. And then, yeah, I left and went freelance for a bit. And yeah, did a stint at NOMAD at the end of 2018. And they asked me to stay on full time. Yeah, and I've been there ever since, kind of helping out with PR and social media stuff as well. So yeah.
Nice. So that brings us up to today. What was the last thing you guys were working on before the COVID happened? P.S. by the way, guys, just so everybody knows, I should just do this because this is not my usual. It is actually, I'm going to be drinking through this one. This is not the usual thing, but it is my birthday. So,
happy birthday!
Thanks.
Happy birthday,
Thanks,
Ross.
guys. It's a very important milestone. It's not. It's one that I'd rather forget. But unfortunately, other people seem to have remembered, and I don't know why. So, yeah, what was the last thing that you guys were working on in NOMAD? Do you even remember before now what you guys were doing?
I think I remember the last thing I was working on in the office was a couple of spots for Kenwood, and before that the commercial for Oppo, or I don't know if it was Oppo first and Louis Vuitton after, or I think it was Oppo. So yeah, Oppo and Kenwood, I would say.
Was it this Louis Vuitton that I'm playing right now, actually?
Yeah, that's
cool.
One of
really
them.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's a series of it's really, really nicely shot and looks great. Yeah, it was really cool to work on this one.
Nice. Oops, hang on a second. You just kind of slipped off there. I think it's changed your aspect ratio there. Oh, Skype, you're my friend, aren't you? So are you guys round about now? You guys are an international outfit, in case other people don't know. Oops, hold on, you're hiding away there as well. You've got offices in, as I understand it, Santa Monica, New York, London, and Tokyo. Is that correct, Carla? Is that right?
Correct. That is indeed correct.
So how is this sort of has this in any kind of way? How has it changed like the workflow of you guys doing things, and how has it changed work for NOMAD in this that you've really noticed?
I guess it's been interesting because obviously I think industry-wide and kind of worldwide we've all kind of been chucked into this at the same time with not a whole lot of time to really prepare for it, I guess. But I think because we do tend to, not necessarily for every job, but we do kind of share work between the offices, so it's been nice to be able to keep that going out of the office as well. So yeah, Felipe, I know you've been working on a couple of jobs for our other offices as well. Like, it's just been really, I think it's kind of nice that we have been able to adapt to this huge, great big change.
Has there been a lot of things coming across your table? It's like, I mean, of course, being a global company, you're always going to be working on stuff. But have you noticed any change in, or like hustles on certain things, or a bit of a trend change in on the projects that are coming in at the moment?
I personally wouldn't say so. Felipe, I don't know. You might have a different.
I think like the only difference is now because now people can shoot stuff. We've been working a lot of like with stock footage and previously shot stuff. So yeah, like recently last week we were working on a Ford commercial for the US. They used previously shot stuff that they didn't use in other commercials, I think. So it's still like, it's old material that they're adapting to to a new cut, a new edit, and of course like stock footage, and because the whole industry is stopped at the moment, so there's no way to shoot new stuff.
That must bring some very strange and weird challenges along the way, though, of course, like with just in terms of color matching and making things do it, because you're kind of like, it's a hodgepodge kind of thing. Has that been a fun challenge for you, or have there been certain nightmares thrown up, or are you kind of just embracing it, saying, fuck it, this is a new kind of aesthetic, we're going to be very aware that we're going to make it quite obvious that this is mixed media?
I mean, you kind of have to embrace it. I think you don't have any other options. I mean, you just have to work with what you're given and then make it look good, and because I mean, it is what it is. So if you can't shoot new stuff and you have to work with what you have at the moment, you have to be adaptable and just do the best you can, I guess.
Yeah. What have been the hardest parts of working during this period for you guys?
You mean personally, or like technical challenges?
Let's start with personally, and then we'll do the technical. Yeah, both. Yeah, definitely.
I think like for me is more like, because as colorists we are usually used to run like attended sessions, so you always usually have like the director sitting on your side and the DP as well, and you get that real-time feedback from them, which for me it's the best thing. So yeah, and then like, so means like human interaction I really miss, because when you're grading, I mean, besides discussing the project and stuff like that, you always like talk about life, and like you learn people's journeys, and so I'm very into those kind of things. And yeah, I think like challenges is like grading remotely. Everything takes more time, I guess, because you depend on sending. I mean, you have to rely on your home broadband, and so sometimes the files we work with are massive, so you have to send massive files to the clients and then wait for them to give you feedback. So something that like in the office would take like, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. So you're all together watching everything on the same screen, discussing the concepts and everything. It just takes hours, because you have to upload, you have to send them approvals, and then they will, everyone will watch on a different screen and will come back with different comments. And then you have to have a meeting and say, okay, so probably what you're seeing here is not very accurate, because I mean, it's just like a hassle sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess for me, these are the most difficult. These are the most challenging things, I guess.
What about you, Carla? What's it been? What's it been for you then? Have you experienced any terrible bits of this new working environment?
I personally, no. I think definitely not awful bits. Anyway, I definitely do miss being in the office environment, and just like the sound of people working around you. I find is quite a motivating sound, and like makes you, I guess, not want to work, but you know what I mean, like it's just nice to be in that environment where you feel like there's a bit of a buzz, and sometimes you get a little lonely.
She's so lonely. She's so lonely in that little coffee shop.
And the snacks. We miss the snacks as well.
Yeah, and the snacks.
Them snacks. There's NOMAD snacks, right? What kind of snacks are you guys keeping? I want to know about that. You guys didn't bring me any snacks when I came in there. What snacks are you holding out of me?
They didn't bring you any snacks?
No. In any left from.
Fair enough. So, but have there been any positives for you guys? Are there certain things that you think you'll take away, or yourselves individually, or perhaps NOMAD will be taking away from this experience that has maybe reinforced certain practices between either the way you do things in your London office, or perhaps across all of your offices? Has there been anybody going like, oh, this is pretty good, I'm feeling positive about this thing, this has reassured us?
I mean, I think, I don't know, one thing that makes me really happy, kind of industry-wide, I suppose, is how, for the most part, people are kind of adapting and it's like Felipe said, you kind of got no choice but to get on with it. Like, content still needs to be created and put out there. We can't just all say, no, I can't do it, sorry, and stop. But yeah, and even like things like this live stream and the caviar workshops, like, it feels like people are trying to collaborate in the face of all this mess. And that to me is a really positive and something that does kind of, is quite heartwarming, because it's like we're all in the same boat and we've got to keep it moving.
There's no experts in pandemics. Please, nobody who's still got a job. That's a Trump joke.
Exactly. And I fully, like, I'm not saying that everyone's got all the answers, because it's completely uncharted territory for literally everybody. Like, this hasn't happened really before. So yeah, I think that's a really nice thing that we can all kind of band together.
Yeah, and it is a little bit exciting in the fact that we don't know. I mean, as awful as the situation is, there is potential there for us to change things and fix certain situations within the institutional practices that were problematic before. It's like things weren't perfect, or they were far from perfect before. But it is quite nice to see, and it has been quite nice to see and hear people who are like leading the industry, at least many of them, saying, why don't we stop going at each other for a bit and just maybe like share some ideas and practices and it's a good opportunity also for things like this where people can take stock. It's like work moves along so quickly that you rarely have a chance to actually just see what people are working on, what people are making, and find out like people's backstories. It's just like, you made that thing. Okay, it's a staff pick. Thank you, goodbye. Who's next? So maybe it's good actually to stop, right?
Exactly. I think generally, I mean, things kind of it's kind of forced everyone to sort of take a step back and really like slow down and think about things, which I think is really nice. And yeah, it's just great work. Like, even because I've been doing some PR stuff as well, we've been doing these little features on like certain staff members from around the world, and it's actually been really nice. I think I hope for everybody else who's seeing them, but for me, and like I hope for the guys at NOMAD, it's actually a nice opportunity to get to know your colleagues a bit more as well, like even ones that do live in Tokyo or Santa Monica that you might not have ever met. It's nice to kind of get to know a bit about them. So yeah, I think there are things to be taken from this.
Yeah. What about you, Felipe? Are there things that you're loving about this, or that you'll take away from this process, or is it all you're like, I can't wait to get it back exactly the way it was?
No, I mean, I miss going to the office. I love the fact that we don't have to commute. So like, you just wake up and like you're there. So you don't spend time commuting and stuff like that. So that I love. But I do miss going to the office, like, and talking to people and seeing people every day. And I mean, I'm the kind of person that, like, I don't like talking on the phone that much. And so like those meetings and like on the phone and stuff like that all the time for me is I mean, I much prefer like being in the office and going to the people's desks and talking to them in person and like discuss. So I miss that. I miss this interaction, I guess. But yeah, what I really enjoy is the fact that you don't have to commute. This is, for me, is amazing. But I think, like, overall, the feeling I have is that we'll come out of this like stronger and possibly like more united as people and as professionals. Companies will learn how to be like more flexible and hopefully they will realize that sometimes we can work remotely. Like, you don't have to stay there like super long hours to get things done, and sometimes. And so I think hopefully like good stuff will come out of this whole situation, with this whole experience that it's new for everyone.
You guys were pretty much, in a sense, you guys were pretty much set up for remote working in the fact that you have all these different offices across all these different time zones, then you must have already been. I imagine you were already set up in a way that there was it was a 24/7 sort of house where you're going. That one office is handing off to another in that way, and so in terms of the work pipeline, I'm interested to know more about NOMAD in that way. Is it that you're all independent houses, or relatively small overlap, Carla, or is there or is everybody is it all just each office is specialized, and so like color will be Felipe, or visual effects will be Tokyo and stuff? Help me with my understanding of that.
So I think for the most part, we don't typically have kind of each office does one thing. There is some overlap across the offices. Obviously, we have Felipe in London, and he does work on jobs for all of the offices. But yeah, that's not to say, that we also don't work on VFX with the guys in Tokyo, for example, or sometimes work on the editorial side with the guys in New York or the guys in LA. So I don't know. It's not so much that we are kind of independent, but also together, if that makes sense. Where it does feel like, I mean, this might sound very cliche, but it does kind of feel like a big family. And like we can have those discussions with all of the team, no matter where they are. Yeah.
Nice. Let me just give a quick shout out to the chat here, guys. I don't want to make it feel like you aren't there. Thank you so much for the wishes. Yes, Nick. Yes, I can't believe he looks like good at 49. Yeah, you're hilarious. Yeah, absolutely hilarious. I'm 39. Okay, I'm 39 today. It's fine. At least it's not 40. It's fine. Hello, Ali. I don't know if I said hello to you before. Hello, Ali. Lovely to see you. Kathy Wang, always. Lovely. Sophie, yes, good to see you. Alistair, thank you so much for joining us. Nigel, another colorist coming in. Thank you again also for your donation, man. I really appreciate it. Jefferson Jr., hello. Gabrielle Fieri, I hope I'm saying that right. Ferreria, I'm going to have to guess that one. Thank you very much. Congratulations on the awesome work, guys, on Local Livre. Do you know what Local Livre is?
Oh, I think it's just, I think it's a promo I graded for a friend in Brazil. Yeah, I think he's mentioning one of promo I graded recently. And then I think it went out yesterday or something, and they got like 1 million views in 24 hours or something.
What? Is that on YouTube?
So it's just, I think so, yeah.
I'm going to have a look at it. Let's have a look, guys. I'm going to search for that. Local Livre. Local Livre. I'm going to pretend like I know how to spell and pronounce these things, guys. I'm going to have to pretend here. Where is it? Help me point out. What is the title of it? Is it on this channel? It must be on this channel.
No, I don't think so. I think it's...
What am I doing? Yeah. I'm getting very distracted. Also, while we're actually on this, I need to point out your Instagram, actually, Felipe, just before I forget. This one should pull it up. There we go. Guys, also Felipe's personal Instagram is here, which you might actually be posting some stills of the thing that Gabrielle is talking about. That's his tag of course is FSZULC_color. I'm just reading things verbatim. What am I doing? I'm half a beer down. What's going on? Anyway, Tiago, thank you so much for joining us as well. I'm guessing this is your housemate. Maybe he's talking about.
Oh yeah, no, he used to be. I think is he saying about?
He's talking about Pez. Yeah, he's burning you in the chat there. But guys, if you have any questions as well, please drop us a line there before we go down a Pez hole. But Carla, just if you don't mind me asking, you are an assistant producer. At the moment, so of course trying on all these other things. What is at the moment like? What are the aspects of a project or things about that role that's make it like a fun job or an attractive job for you? Are there certain aspects that you're like, I love this bit of post producing and I want to get more into it, or are there other aspects that you're interested in?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very junior, so still have a lot to learn, but I think that is something that I am quite interested in, and what I do really like about working on project, like I have worked on projects before with the guys in London and in Tokyo actually as well, is that if I do kind of have questions, there's always, and that's something I kind of miss about being in the office, is there's always kind of someone there to explain a bit or kind of talk it through a bit more, which is really nice. So that's really attractive, that it's kind of an opportunity to keep learning, I guess, about the process overall, but also more in depth about each different aspect. But fundamentally, I really like a spreadsheet, and I really like
Yes.
and it's no that shame, like no really OCD, like must know what's going on thing in the back of my head that I, it's like when you finish something up and all the numbers match up, and like it's just that feeling of yes, it's done. Like not so much that it's done, but it all adds up and like nothing's wrong. You know what I mean?
Spreadsheet dork. That's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine.
I know that's quite, but listen, I love color coordination. So.
Oh God. What about you, Felipe? When this is over, or there's if there's an ideal project that you'd like to take on next, is there something that you have in mind? Like what are the things that's the projects that attract you the most?
I think like overall, more than how it looks at how it was shot is like the story behind it. I think if it's an interesting story, and if like color is going to help the way we tell the story, I'm always interested in those kind of projects. I think for me, if I could, I've been working mostly with commercials and short films. So if I could start working a bit more in like features and maybe I don't know, like maybe episodic, I don't know, that would be great. To get a bit more experience in features and yeah, I think that's what I'm looking for. But I do like commercials as well, because it's just like a fast pace, and because I know features sometimes you stay working for much longer on that. And I don't know, I've never done many features. So
well, that brings us to this Timothy Spall film, This Time Away. Can you tell me about a bit about this project, and what your involvement in it was, and how it came to you?
Yeah, well, to be fair, it's a great project, by the way, and to be honest, I think it went live. It went to like several festivals. We managed to be long listed for the BAFTA with this one. It's just a great film. It's directed by Magali Barbet, if I'm not wrong, her last name. And how I got involved is just like the VFX supervisor on this film. I'm very good friends with him, and then he recommended me to grade the short film at that time, and then they got in touch with the post house I was working for at that time, and then that's how I got involved. But it was a very nice process, because we had enough time to sit down and discuss, and I did I think like the first session, the grading session was like a 10 hour or something. So I did like a first pass. The director and the DP came, we discussed and changed a few things. So and so I first graded it without the robot.
Oh, right. Okay.
And it's so I graded like pretty much the whole film without the robot. So well, hopefully when they send us the shots with the CG robot, everything will be fine. But yeah, it was so nicely shot, and like Passion Pictures, who was the company behind it as well. I mean, they're just amazing. So you get the material get is just so good. So when we received the shots with the robot, then of course we had to tweak some stuff, but they send you like separate mats as well, so you can grade specific elements of the robot and just help with the matching a little bit more. So yeah, it was great. And then I think yesterday it finally came online, so you can watch the whole film online now.
Really?
So I think, yeah. So I think I sent you the trailer, but yesterday the director just posted something. I think it was picked by Shorts of the Week.
Yes, I see it now.
Yeah, so you can watch the whole thing online now, and it's totally worth it. It's a great film. I'm very proud and happy I had the chance to be involved in this project. A very good experience.
Yeah, nice one. And what can you tell me about the other short film that you included? I think it was for you were involved with the Tokyo office in this one.
Oh, okay.
Tell me about this project here.
What, the Tokyo one, right? Okay. Yeah, I don't. I think it was for Fuji TV. I think it was a TV channel in Japan, and if I'm not wrong. It's more like a teenager. I don't know. I watched. I didn't watch with the English subtitles actually, so I watched with the Japanese subtitles. So I'm not really sure what it's all about, but but I mean, it looks great. It's very nicely shot. And it was my first project at NOMAD, actually. And and the thing is, like, the challenge here was like, because when you're grading something to a different market, to Asian markets, sometimes the grade you do here for, like, in the UK, for stuff in the UK or Brazil or whatever, doesn't quite work for them there.
Is it just a stylistic taste thing, or is there something else?
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes they like stuff super saturated, and skin tones especially. Sometimes clients, they come to you here and say, well, can because models here in art, sometimes they're very pale, and can you make her look a bit more healthy, healthy skin tones and a bit more of magenta or red and stuff like that. And what I found out with this short film was literally the opposite. They want to make us look like everything more pale and add a little bit of green to it, to skin tones. And so yeah, it was just like a very good first experience, because it was my first job at NOMAD. It was really nicely shot, and
it's a really lovely
plus
grade. I've only seen these stills, but they're really beautiful.
Yeah, I think the short is like 25 minutes long or something, so we couldn't share with you, but yeah, so I chose some stills, but yeah, it was really, really good. I had a lot of fun grading it, and we did everything remotely too. I mean, at that time we didn't have like a real-time connection with Tokyo office, so they just sent us the material. The director sent me like a color brief, and references. And then, we started from there. So I think like the approval process was a bit, so I chose like some key shots and then graded those. And then I think we went like 3 or 4 rounds of approval until they said, okay, that's the book. And then, I graded everything else.
Nice. You've got a couple of questions here. First of all, Sophie's she loves some spreadsheets for sure. There, got a thing from Alistair here. What's your working from home setup like, Felipe? What monitors are you using? We'll get real technical here, you colorists.
I'm using an ISO monitor at the moment, 4K HDR. I think it's HDR, and then with a mini panel from Blackmagic and iMac Pro. That's what I have at the moment. And then, I don't know like the model specifically.
Don't give it all away. Don't give it all away.
But that's the setup I'm using at the moment.
Kathy Wang asks, Felipe, who would you most want to work with or collaborate with? I guess that probably relates to things of more maybe of your perhaps your long format ambitions and things. Is there a certain genre or a person or subject matter that you'd like to work with?
Well, there are obviously people that I admire and DPs I admire. I think like there is a Brazilian DP called Adriano Goldman. He's the DP for The Crown.
Oh, yeah.
He's like a super nice guy, very approachable, and so yeah, if I could ever grade something for him or something that he shot, it would be great. There are some Brazilian other Brazilian DPs as well that I really like the work. There is one called Adolfo Veloso, which is also really nice. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm open to all sorts of projects and stuff, and if I could just try and focus more in features and stuff. But again, like nowadays, commercials and especially like I'm very projects that are shot on film. I think it's always good.
Yeah, absolutely. So Carla, with working with those all those other offices, are you just responsible for handling just the London office things, or do you need to somehow help gel all these offices together and send out messaging things for those things? And also within that question, I always like stacking them in there. Is there any kind of weird considerations and aspects to this job because it's a multinational thing of different cultures? Have you ever hit any weird speed bumps or learned some new things that others might find interesting?
In terms of the sort of PR side of things?
Yeah, sure.
I think generally, I mean, obviously with Japan there is a total language difference, so that's always something that I have to ask the guys in Tokyo for a bit of help with. But I think generally, and I guess I'm sure Felipe, as he was saying, there's tends to be some kind of cultural differences in terms of what they want out of a grade, sort of what they want that to look like. There's obviously some differences, ads are different across all the, across the world, across all the cultures. So I think, because of that, you have to sort of write differently or not necessarily promote them in a different way, but choose the wording to suit the audience you're targeting. And obviously sort of timings and stuff like that. I don't want to be posting stuff at 3 a.m. in Tokyo, but I really want some guys in Japan to see. But yeah, I think I generally kind of work with all the offices to make sure we all agree on sort of what the strategy, but also I guess fundamentally the wording of posts and things are and articles and stuff like that, and kind of just making sure everyone's happy, because they all probably different agendas in terms of want to target and stuff like that.
What's happening? What's the hap over in what are you hearing from over in Santa Monica and Tokyo? How is lockdown or the current situations in those territories? How is work or life being affected from them? Are you hearing much from them, and how is it different to here, if at all?
I think well, definitely in New York. New York's like the epicenter of the nightmare in the US at the moment. So I think they are. Yeah, it seems. I don't know. I think for the most part they are adapting as best they can. Things just seem a lot scarier there. But then on the complete flip side, in Tokyo, they seem to be under kind of less severe lockdown until not that long ago. So I think they were still going into the office after we were on lockdown and stuff like that. So I guess it's just a little bit different country to country. But yeah, I think the guys in the US have been dabbling in some animation lately, which has been cool. So they're kind of pursuing it.
Is that something that you guys are openly encouraging to just?
I think it is definitely being encouraged, and yeah, we'll see what that means for NOMAD Santa Monica going forward.
Oh, nice, cool. So what? Hang on, got another question here for Kathy Wang. Question for Carla. Here we go. I loving the questions, Kathy. What do you think is the most interesting differences? Oh wait, there you go. I guess the same question. When great minds, differences between cultures when promoting. I guess if you feel that you've already answered that one, I guess like if you were to give anybody a tip in terms of doing PR or promoting or even just collaborating between offices and stuff, whether it's a nuance of American ways of doing things or Japanese ways of doing things, is there any sort of helpful tip? You're just like, oh yeah, by the way, don't do this or don't say that.
I think it comes down to, I guess, do your research and kind of assess the vibe. I don't know if that's a really cringy way of saying it.
What's the vibe? Hey, always like email. What's the vibe?
What's the vibe? But no, I think, I guess it's the difference between, you look at an ad made for the US and an ad made for the UK, and even the words they will use will be slightly different. So I guess it's knowing what you're promoting and then also knowing your audience. I think you got to be careful and aware of any, cultural sensitivities and stuff like that. And I think that's why it is kind of nice to work for a company like Nomad, because you do get exposed to the different ways of working between offices, but also, the different cultures. And, it might be really subtle differences that you might not necessarily pick up, but I think it is, it's just about really doing your research.
Did you have much experience in doing that beforehand, or was it sort of like, whoa, I'm learning a lot here? How was the learning curve?
In terms of PR?
Yeah, and dealing with international clients, because a lot of people are specialized in the thing of like, I'm very good at X and Y to this territory, but that is quite a big broad. I guess we naturally feel like, there's a lot of similarities between working with American clients and British clients. It's the language, we share a relatively similar culture, but there is a lot of nuances and differences there. Did you have any experience in that before, or was it like kind of like hit the ground running? And
I guess, I have lived in a few different countries over my life.
Such as?
I was born in Australia, actually. I know you can't really tell by my accent. But yeah, then I moved to the UK, and then after that moved to Italy. After that moved to Belgium, and then my parents now live in Bulgaria. So yeah, there's a couple of different places in the mix. So I think, and at each of those moves, our whole family was just like, yeah, right, you gotta, kind of learn. We were just chucked in at the deep end. But I think that has possibly meant that I am a little bit more aware of those nuances, or can see them a bit clearer. I don't know. I
guess that's probably part of Nomad's DNA, isn't it? Really, that I guess like yourself and Felipe coming into those cultures, but all these different offices, it's quite a melting pot of language and cultures. That must be quite fun. Do you guys ever get together? At Christmas? Yeah. Or do you never hear? Are you guys like solo islands and you talk to each other over Skype or something?
Well, we have some calls sometimes, especially when we are working together on a project. Then we do some calls. I've never been to any of the other offices, but I know that some of the editors, they do travel and they do fly over if they are needed somewhere else, like in any of the other offices. So yeah, and sometimes we get like visits from people from other offices as well, but I never.
Yeah, I think there is definitely the opportunity for people to travel as and when they're needed.
Not anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Not anymore, but there previously was. But then I think
let's talk about the good old days. What was it? What did you get? I guess actually on that note, I appreciate you guys taking time out for this. I would love to know if you guys have any questions, get them in. But I would love to know from each of you. We'll start with you, Carla. Is there anything? What's the first thing you want to do the moment that we're sort of free and clear of this thing? What is it that you want to do? Do you want to go to Bulgaria?
No.
Oh, you actually had just left Bulgaria just before the outbreak, right?
Literally, I flew back 2 days before lockdown was officially.
You went there, you dropped it, and then you came back.
And I was like, okay, bye. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, who knows? I could be speaking to you live from Sofia. I'd had to stay. No, I think the first thing I'd do, I would really like to just go out for a meal.
What kind of meal? Be specific.
Oh, I mean, is it really cliche to say McDonald's?
Oh, my girlfriend she has like walking fantasies about McDonald's. It's like when McDonald's closed and the delivery stopped, she almost wept. Which is weird. It's a weird thing that you just like, out of everything I could have, I want something that's really dirty and mundane, but I can totally understand why.
I said at the beginning of the year, I said to myself, right, I'll go a whole year without McDonald's. And now I know I can't have McDonald's. I'm like, no, I need it. You don't understand.
Yes. I went for years without it, and then I somehow slipped back in. I'm just like, hello, like a bad relationship. I just fell back into it. How about you, Felipe? What are you looking forward to doing as soon as you're free and easy, free and breezy?
I think it would be, there is like a very good Italian pub in Greenwich that I used to go to with my friends. So I think like the first opportunity I have to like meet my friends and go to that pub will be amazing. They have amazing pizza and it's a very good environment. So I would say the Italian pub in Greenwich, or maybe like a Brazilian barbecue here in the backyard.
Nice.
I don't know. And hopefully maybe visiting family in Brazil, but I don't know when that will be possible.
If you don't mind me asking, what's the word out of Brazil? Like, how is Brazil handling this whole thing? Because of course, like, we're pretty focused on ourselves and maybe Europe and America, but we don't hear much from South America.
Yeah, I mean, the situation, I think, as far as I know, I've been talking to my family and stuff, they're reaching the peak of the outbreak now. I think like this week, the next, and the first weeks of June will be the worst for them. And yeah, of course, like it's a little worrying because, of course, the healthcare system is not as good as here, and it's a much more populated country. And of course, like the leaders, sometimes they don't agree.
That's a nice way of putting it, isn't it?
Each other, let's put it this way. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, without being like too political. But yeah, so at the moment, I think there is a fight between the kind of a fight like between the president and the governors and like of each state. So yeah, it's just crazy. So situation there is not good. Is not that organized, I think, as it is here.
As it is here.
Well, hopefully, I mean, it's
like it could be worse.
Well, it is organized if you think about it, but if you compare to other places, yeah. But I mean, I think it is what it is everywhere. So like people are trying to, although like the lockdown is not as strict as here, there is still like the recommendation is to stay home, and although sometimes the president says the opposite.
It's a very diplomatic way of putting it. I think that's an excellent way of tiptoeing around saying what we're all thinking. There's no point saying it. But yeah, that is awesome, guys. If you have any other questions, guys, let us know. I just want to, but I do want to take this opportunity to resize Felipe's screen there, put him back on there, and then go side by side. I do want to take this opportunity to thank Carla and Felipe for joining us today. I know we've tried to get you guys on for a long time and coax you over. But you've been super busy over there at NOMAD, and I really appreciate it. Also, Carla, when this is all over, you know what I'm really looking forward to having? I'm looking forward to having a party at NOMAD London. That's still going to happen, right?
Oh yeah, that's going to happen.
Cool. And everybody who's in the chat right now, they can all come, right?
100%. How many people are in the chat? Just
not many.
Curiosity?
There's like 20 or 25 or something. So we'll bring them. But everybody who watches this afterwards, as a legacy, Carla and NOMAD are making a promise that it will be there and there will be free beer and snacks. So just drop Carla an email. Just drop a Carla.
snacks, they might
They might
have
all,
gone.
there's no snacks at this party. Oh, it's the worst. But Carla's email is down below, guys, and make sure that you give them a follow. There's the social things to kick you off underneath. But Carla just says, yeah, reach out. She just love to chat to everybody about spreadsheets and snackchat.com.
That's it. That's all I know.
That's all she can focus on right now. That's whatever we can get through. But thank you guys all for joining us. Thanks, Olivia. Didn't give you a shout out there. Thank you so much for joining us. And we will see you next week for some other stuff. I can't even remember right now because I've not had lunch and I've had one beer and I'm starting to forget what I'm doing here. But so thank you guys so much for joining us. And I hope you guys will come back again. Was it all right? Because Carla was like terrified before she came on. But she's been great, right?
Don't tell me like that, Rob.
She's like, I think I'm going to pass out. I just need to go get a coffee from this fucking bullshit setup you've got behind you. It just makes me angry and depressed. I'm in a loft. I'm in a hot, sweaty room, and I'm sad. And it's my birthday. Goodbye, everybody. Bye.
Thank you, Ross, and a happy birthday.
Oh, thanks, guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'll be thinking of you as I go out and come back in straight away. Thank you. Bye.